All right, here we go. Gambit gameplay. Let's take a look at his abilities. We'll watch the trailer through first once, and then I'll put it on loop and talk about some extra details that I've got about what all of the abilities actually do. I've got the exact details to go through. So let's jump into it. We'll do one first watch through, and then I'll explain each detail, each ability in detail. So it's gonna... Yeah, I'll explain everything as we go here. Okay. So he's a strategist, right? His main attack.
Lucky draw.
He is a strategist, but he's doing a lot of damage. He has a couple of options. He can flush or raise. And there's a really, really cool effect there with the abilities that he could potentially pull from his deck of cards. I'll explain that in just a second. It's really awesome.
Got a full deck. I'll see. Gambit never fall.
There's the ult.
High caliber.
Do a hole through that wall. Insane, like, movement and power boost for all of his team. Wow, he looks awesome. All right, so let me read you through all of these details as we do a sort of loop in the background. This is the best way I could sort of make this video. Unfortunately, I didn't get the ability to create this ahead of time. So we're just going to do it like this, all right, as we watch. So his first attack is called Kinetic Cards. He throws 3 kinetic charge cards in an arc ahead, and each card detonates on impact, creating a single target explosion that damages enemies and heals allies. Maybe we'll get a bit of a sound in the background. Now, he also has a shift ability. That's his dash, sidestep forward with bow staff in hand, dashing a short distance. So that's his second ability you're seeing there. And then you've got these 2 card abilities, right? Healing Hearts and Breaking Spades. So Healing Hearts, sorry, turn it down a little bit. Conjure a heart card by consuming 1 stack of Sleight of Hand to heal and switch to the Healing Hearts deck. And then you've got Breaking Spades. Conjure a spade card by consuming 1 stack of Sleight of Hand to gain a damage boost and switch to the Breaking Spades deck. And we'll talk about the decks in a second, which gets you access to some different abilities, right? But he's also got a secondary attack called Bayou Bash, and you'll see that just here in the corner. Let's just skip ahead. The Bayou Bash is the second ability down here. Hang on a minute. Let me make sure you can see my cursor. So this one here is Bayou Bash. This one here is the Cajun Charge ability, and these 2 are the deck switching abilities, right? So you see these here on the screen. This is your basically sleight of hand stacks, right? You can get up to 4 of them, and that's how you basically build up your stacks, right? That's pretty interesting. Right, so Bayou Bash is channel kinetic energy into the bow staff, then slam it into the ground. You just saw it there after a sweeping strike, creating a shockwave that damages nearby enemies and heals allies. Follow up Cajun Charge with big, easy impact to sprint forward while striking with the bow staff, triggering 3 kinetic explosions along the path. So, pretty cool abilities, but it gets really interesting when you have the ability to choose between the 2 decks of cards. So you've got the Healing Hearts deck and the Breaking Spades deck. Now, what's really interesting about that is the Healing Hearts, as you'd imagine, is sort of more of like a healing stance. And there you've got 2 separate abilities, Bridge Boost and Purifying Pickup. So depending on your stance, you can access the abilities here. If you look at here, right, you can see him. He's about to activate his ability to draw one of the decks. And then you can see down here, you have different abilities there. So you got the different ability icons. We just zoom in there, you can actually see it. So these 2 here, which are part of the Healing Heart. So if he goes and activates the Healing Hearts deck, he then has these 2 different abilities. The first one here is called Bridge Boost. While Healing Hearts deck is active, trigger Flush Empowerment to card, spring, and fire a full deck forwards. Cards bounce between allies in impact, granting health and a healing boost. The second one here is called Purifying Pickup. While Healing Hearts deck is active, trigger Raise Empowerment to launch a cluster of cards in an arc ahead. Explosions heal nearby allies and purify them. Purify, I believe from what we've heard from Guang is a debuff removal ability. So I'm very curious how that's going to work in the game. Now, if we go and keep watching this, you'll see a moment where we'll get access to the other deck, the damage dealing deck, the breaking spades deck. So once we get that, I'll pause it for you again. So he just went back into the healing cards here. So if you press the fourth ability, the F, that will go into the breaking spades deck. There we go. Just saw it for a second there. Let's just pause it right about there. Okay, so these are the breaking spades abilities. So, you know, you can use your stacks to go between the healing deck and the attack deck. So we've just talked about the healing deck. The attack deck, the breaking spades deck, gives you 2 more abilities. The first one you're seeing there is called Bidding Barrage. While Breaking Spades deck is active, trigger Flush Empowerment to scatter cards in an arc in all directions. Explosions damage enemies and launch them up. And then this ability here, this one, the little sort of, the one right next to the ultimate. While Breaking Spades deck is active, trigger Flush Empowerment to fire a full set of cards forward. Cards explode on impact, dealing damage while inflicting reduced healing. So you've got a bit more damage dealing with this card. And you can switch between each sort of stance or deck, depending on whether or not you want to deal damage or provide healing and debuff removal, which is quite interesting, right? So we'll keep playing it now, and you can see that in action there a little bit with these abilities. And then, of course, he has his ultimate as well, which is called Raging Royal Flush. Lock onto an ally within sight and unleash multiple aces that heal and purify. Both enter the kinetic transfer state, granting increased movement speed and jump boost, while enhancing attacks with additional single target explosive damage and providing the ally with ultimate ability charge acceleration. So we can watch that once again there. You can see how Punisher has been enhanced with this. So you get increased movement speed, you get enhanced attacks, and debuff removal with the Purify status effect. Look how he jumps over the group wall there. So you're really empowering your characters and your teammates to actually go and like take objectives instead of just providing like a invulnerability ult like a lot of other strategists. Pretty interesting. So let's just watch that through now again, now that you understand the abilities and you can see them in action a bit more carefully. So this all comes from the Marvel Rivals devs, their abilities. We get to see them in action here. So he's a very useful strategist. It's not just about providing a lot of heals. It's got a lot of sort of debuff removal, a lot of damage potential, and he's really going to be able to assist his... Do you see that there? That was the debuff removal, the Purify. Look at that. He uses it to remove them from the Doctor Strange ultimate status effect, which basically saves them from taking damage. Look at this. That is just incredible. Really, really cool ability there. The Purify status effect is something we've never had before. Really going to change the flow of gameplay for sure. Being able to just remove debuffs, awesome. And then here we get to see a bit of the attack form in action. Oh, this is the ultimate here. And you can see once again how Punisher just gets super turbo boosted, doing a lot of extra damage there. That's really going to speed up. Like a good push with that ult could be really good. Not sure about his healing potential. He's definitely more like going to be focused on other elements of strategist gameplay and not so much healing. He does have healing, but I'm curious how that's going to play out in gameplay. What do you think? Let me know, and I'll see you all in the comments. Cheerio.